Welcome to CBT News with Shyann Malone.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to CBT News. I'm Shyann Malone. Today on Inside Automotive, we are joined by Jonathan Fowler, the president of Fowler Holding Company. But first, here are today's top stories. During a recent Facebook live stream, Shawn Fain, president of the United Auto Workers, had a lot to say. He stressed the importance of negotiating a 32-hour work week, the right to strike when a plant closes, and paid volunteer work in upcoming talks with the Detroit Three. In light of growing revenues and compensation for automakers over the last 4 years, Fain emphasized that negotiators would also call for double-digit pay raises. The union introduced these demands to Stellantis on August 1st and intends to share them with GM and Ford this week. After a 6-week hiatus, Ford has revealed the factory used to build its electric F-150 Lightning pickup truck has now resumed operations. Recent price cuts on the electric pickup have driven an increase in demand, making vehicle output critical for the Detroit automaker. According to Marin Jaja, Chief Customer Officer for Ford's Model E division, the price cuts resulted in a 6-fold rise in new orders for the Lightning as supply ramps up quickly in the second half of the year. Jaja predicts sales will rise dramatically in late September and October. Oh, and get ready for this one. Subaru is accelerating the pace of its global electrification strategy. The company has new plans to manufacture EVs in the U.S. beginning in 2027. Now, the automaker intends to sell over 400,000 battery-powered vehicles by 2028, which is a volume equal to nearly half of its current U.S. sales. And in addition to this announcement, the Japanese automaker's new CEO Atsushi Osaka said Subaru is aiming to have about 600,000 of its units come from fully electric models by 2030. That's half the company's global volume. Toyota is making a push to revive an iconic and high-margin sports utility vehicle. It unveiled the first hybrid version of its famous Land Cruiser, and get this, there are plans to bring it to the U.S. as well as other key markets. According to Toyota, the new Land Cruiser will hit the market in Japan during the first half of 2024 and will arrive in North America during the spring of the same year. They are set to start somewhere in the mid-$50,000 range. Don't go anywhere. Coming up next, Jonathan Fowler, the president of Fowler Holding Company, when we come back. Well, if you're not already subscribed to CBT News, now is the perfect time to do it. For over a decade, CBT has brought you exclusive and in-depth interviews with dealer principals, OEM executives, industry analysts, and top-level sales and management trainers. Join the thousands of automotive professionals that rely on CBT News for the insights that drive profits and maximize the bottom line. Subscribe today. On today's Inside Automotive, we're catching up with Jonathan Fowler, the president of Fowler Holding Company, to get an update on his dealer group, and we'll also learn what the demand looks like in his markets today. Take a look.
Many of the dealers that I talked to around the country have said, yes, the good news is that the inventories are back. Bad news is that the grosses weren't what they were this time last year. Have you realized the same, that now it's back to discounting cars? One dealer in South Florida, a very competitive market, by the way, said, yep, we're back to, just sharpening the pencil. And in some cases, it is a race to the bottom on some of the models that we sell. But what does it look like from your standpoint?
Thankfully, again, back to our longevity and experience. This is our 50th year in business.
Wow.
And we've got a great team with a lot of tenured members that have been through some ups and downs before. So I think that we always expected that new car inventory would come back at some point. To put it in perspective, when we had 7 dealerships going into COVID, not that long ago, we carried about $100 to $120 million in new car inventory across those 7 dealerships.
Wow.
We bottomed out at about $14 million across those 7 dealerships post-COVID. Today, across 11 dealerships, we have about $60 million in inventory of new cars. And so we are seeing it come back, but compared to pre-COVID historical levels, it's nowhere near compared to the level it once was.
Right.
We have seen impacts on margins. I think most dealers are seeing that on used cars. We made the decision some time ago to back down our used car inventories intentionally. We knew that a correction was coming, and rather than continue to wait and slide into that, we tried to be proactive. So we're still turning our used car inventory at about a 35 to 40-day inventory turn. Our margins are down on the used car side. New cars, ours aren't as down as much as some other competitors. Unfortunately, we had a lot of competitors that were pricing well above MSRP. We chose not to do that. And so because of that, we're not seeing the dramatic declines on the new car gross that some other people are seeing.
That's great.
We're fortunately, like I said, we're rolling with the punches. We're trying to evolve and adapt. We are seeing some increases in inventory and some offsets in margins.
Sure.
But so far, it's still an economy and a market where you can continue to make money. There is enough demand on that, and hopefully people are being smart with it.
And you can check out this full interview right here at cbtnews.com. Well, that wraps up our show for today, but we do invite you right back here tomorrow morning on cbtnews.com and at noon, streaming on social media. And if you have a question for one of our industry experts, send it to us, newsroom@cbtnews.com, and we'll have an answer on our upcoming newscast. You can stay up to date with all the most recent news and trends influencing the retail automotive industry just by following us on TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, and X, formerly known as Twitter. I'm Shyann Malone. Thanks so much for joining us. You have a good one.
CBT News, your #1 resource for auto industry news and content.